Alright, welcome to my spoiler review of Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. Stupid name, stupid movie, everything about this is stupid. Look, I didn't hate this movie. I don't think that it was the worst one. Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones are worse. I think that this is better than those, but I mean, this is next after those, you know? Yeah, no, they made a lot of fucking missteps with this one. It's just not what it should have been. Issue number one. My first issue is Emperor Palpatine should not be in this movie at all. He just doesn't belong here at all. They just decided, well, bad guy. Lack of bad guy. I mean, they didn't really have a lack of a bad guy. They still had Kylo Ren. They still had Rey maybe becoming a bad guy. They had a few different conflicting things going on. They had General Hux. They had a few different directions that they could have gone in, but they just decided, nah, we just want to have like this big cartoony evil guy to destroy the world who had nothing to do with anything, but they just want to retcon him in so that they have something, I guess. Or maybe so that they can sell people on the nostalgia so that they can go see it. But truth is, Emperor Palpatine is just a lazy fucking excuse for a villain and just doesn't at all belong here. It just doesn't work. Issue number two kind of goes back to The Last Jedi, and it was kind of like trying to fix that up / continue that story, I guess. But why the fuck... This annoyed me in The Last Jedi when it happened, but they didn't kill Princess Leia, or General whatever we're calling her now. They didn't kill Leia in the last movie. They had a fantastic opportunity to. She sacrificed herself in this heroic way. It was visually memorable. You saw her floating in space. Until, of course, that moment where she just magically is fine again. Cool, sick. It was stupid, but whatever. I got over it. Okay? As long as, that is, that in the next movie, that was for a reason. Well, in Rise of the Skywalker, do you want to know what happens with her? I mean, obviously, because Carrie Fisher died in real life. Again, so why did you keep the character alive in The Last Jedi? It's so frustrating, but that's the other movie. But since she did die, you know what they did? Nothing with that character. She did nothing. She talked to a few characters here and there, giving them semi kind of inspirational advice, and then she dies. Of like old age or something? Am I missing something there? I don't know. Maybe she died because of the Force. Who knows? I don't know. Just in case I wasn't clear here, keeping the character alive when the actor had passed away was unnecessary and was going to be a challenge in the next movie for the filmmakers. My point here is that they should have let Carrie Fisher respectfully pass on with the character rather than artificially keeping her alive and limiting themselves artistically in the process. So why, is my question. Why let her live in the last movie only for her to just die now for nothing? She added nothing, and there was a perfect opportunity to kill that character off in the last movie. This is more a problem with The Last Jedi, I'm realizing though, so let's get on to the next problem, shall we? Another problem that I had with Rise of the Skywalker is that there's just Force ghosts everywhere. Woo! Luke Skywalker's back. Yay! Such a fan of Star Wars. Luke Skywalker. This is the best movie ever because Luke Skywalker's back as a ghost for 2 seconds. No, they just kept cramming fucking shit in here. Like, I thought the point of The Last Jedi was to move on from the old. That's what Kylo Ren was going on and on about, how you have to kill the old stuff and move on or whatever.
It's time to let old things die.
I guess he was the villain of that movie, so maybe that wasn't the message we were supposed to be taking. I don't know. Alright, next up, Rey. Rey is a massive issue, and if you didn't like Rey in the previous movies, if you thought she was overpowered, fucking wait. Just wait until you watch Rise of the Skywalker, because Jesus Christ, she can just stop ships, she can fucking bring people back to life and heal them. Death means nothing around her anymore. It's just not good. It's just not good. She is way too overpowered. She's basically a fucking god in this movie. There's nothing that she can't do. Everything just comes so conveniently to her. And I was an apologist for her character in the last 2 movies. I was like, she wasn't invincible. She learned this stuff. She was slowly getting there. She was skilled. She was a strong character, and I was all for that. I really liked Rey in the previous 2 movies. In this one, it was just ridiculous. It's like they read all of the stuff online from the extreme to the not so extreme, where people were saying that Rey was overpowered, and even to the extreme where, oh no, like, she's a woman, she shouldn't be this powerful, and all that controversial shit that went on and is still going on to this day. And they just took exactly the wrong lesson from everybody's opinion, basically, and went, you know what we're going to do? We're going to make her just fucking better than anybody ever. There's nothing that she can't do. It's ridiculous. Now she can heal people or creatures or whatever. She can just, she's God. That's it. She's just God in this movie. So then when they bring Palpatine to Rey and they have to fight, and that's what the big climax is based on apparently, and this is what everything has been leading to, it's just nothing. They don't have a relationship other than what they just like retconned and explained to us in the final minutes of this movie. Like, Rey's a Palpatine. He's her grandpa. Why? Just have her be nobody. That was fine. I was fine with that decision of her being nobody. I like people not just being special. I like people learning to become worthy. But no, instead, she is special, and she's the granddaughter of this guy. It was really unnecessary to include him, but there he was. So, he's here now. Cool. They're facing off. Kylo Ren's suddenly a good guy. That's fine. We all knew that was going to happen. I was waiting for this. This should have happened in The Last Jedi. He basically did turn into a good guy until he was like, oh, all jokes. Nah, I'm a bad guy again. Want to be a bad guy? Woo! But whatever. Finally, he's a good guy. They fight Palpatine. And then he like zaps their fucking souls out or something. He takes all their life energy away. Cool. They're dying. Then they kill him together or whatever happens. And then after this, Kylo is... Ben. After this, Ben is alive, and Rey next to him is dead, and he's all upset. Oh no. Oh no. And then it's revealed that he also has magical healing powers as well, and can just heal anybody. And then he heals her, which kills him. It takes all of his life away, apparently. That's a thing now. It wasn't established, but now it's a thing. Whew. And then she's alive before he dies. Just before he dies. And they kiss! What? Where did that come from? This is not a thing that should be happening. It's just like, this was just like bad fan fiction where they just had to ship the characters because, I don't know, they thought it would be sexy or something. I don't know. For one, I thought that for the first two movies, there was a possibility that they were brother and sister. And yes, I mean, I guess that there are like connections between that and Luke and Leia in the original trilogy, who turned out to be brother and sister. But it just made it fucking weird. And, like, do they even know each other that well, really? They haven't spent that much time together. But suddenly they're looking longingly in each other's eyes and smiling, and they kiss. And... No, don't do that. Icky. Yuck. Stop, please. It's not good. It's not a good movie. It's not a good movie. Basically for everybody else, like Finn and Poe and stuff, they're fine. They do some stuff, do some generic Star Wars-y stuff. That stuff isn't that good or bad, really. It just feels like a normal kind of war thing while the big actual story is going on with Rey. And not even Kylo Ren, really. He doesn't really even do that much. He just decides to be a good guy all of a sudden. My argument here is that, yes, Palpatine shouldn't have been in this movie, okay? In the last movie, Kylo Ren should have turned into a good guy. Rey could be a bad guy, maybe, or not. She can still be conflicted. I don't know, whatever. I don't really care. Either way would work. And what should have happened was General Hux. Domhnall Gleeson's General Hux should have become the bad guy. He was clearly the second guy in command or whatever in the last two movies. And evil. He was clearly an evil guy. You know what they do with that character? He's a spy. He's a good guy now. The fucking guy. Did you see him in these last movies where he is just like a Nazi to just 1,000 billion%? He's a Nazi. He's just this evil, slimy, disgusting character. And now he's a spy and he's a good guy. He says this line where it's like, I don't really care if you win. I just want Kylo Ren to lose. And sure, so maybe he's not 100% fantastic, good, moral guy. But I still just don't buy into him doing anything like this. And I think that it was a massive, massive, massive waste of potential to not have this guy become the big bad guy. If they needed to have a big bad guy, if it wasn't going to be Rey, if she wasn't going to turn evil, which I wasn't sure, but they could have maybe made her the big bad in the end and Kylo Ren had to save everybody. But thinking about it this way, they weren't going to turn they weren't going to turn the woman into a villain and have her killed by a man, the hero. They just weren't going to do that, so that's fine. So they should have made General Hux the main villain. That's what they should have done. But I can't complain about things that I wish they did, I guess. I'm critiquing what they did do. To be fair, let's comment on what they did do. Okay, so going into this movie, it did not feel like it was even trying to be the last one of its series. It didn't feel like it at the start, it didn't feel like it at the end. Again, this just felt like it was a middle of the road, middle of the series entry where we were still gearing up to the end. It didn't feel like a finale. It just straight up didn't. And I mean, J J Abrams, I don't know how much he brought onto this. I don't know how much he had to try and salvage from The Last Jedi. And I don't know how much was his vision. But he didn't save this. He dropped the ball one way or another, whether it was his fault or not. I feel like this was a salvageable movie. I feel like they could have turned it in the right direction. I feel like it didn't even necessarily have to be the end either. This doesn't have to be a trilogy. If you follow the Marvel movies, like, things aren't in trilogies. They put as many movies as they want into a phase, and then, you know, once it naturally gets to that stage where they're like, okay, now is another Avengers movie or whatever, now is the end of that phase, well, it ends, and that's that, and it feels natural, and it comes as they create. But this felt like it was this predetermined trilogy, and it felt like it was this predetermined thing where they had to fit it in here. They had to have a big bad guy in this movie. They had to do this, they had to do that, and none of it worked. It's so frustrating because, again, I didn't hate it. Clearly, there's competent filmmakers behind this. Clearly, the actors are all good. Clearly, it looks fucking fantastic. It looks like space. It looks cool, but it's not a bad movie, but it makes bad decisions all the way through, and it keeps making them constantly. And I feel like this is how people felt about The Last Jedi, and I kind of get that. I feel like this is 100% worse. Yeah, no, this is a major waste of potential. Let's try and get to some of the good stuff, I guess. Let's get to some positives, shall we? It looked good, like I said. I kind of enjoyed some of this, but even the action isn't salvageable when you don't care about the characters, when there aren't any stakes. It's like, you just sit there bored shitless, just like, okay, can we fucking move on from this action scene? Can we see the progression of this? No, there's no progression. Oh, now Palpatine's back. Oh, now Rey can heal everybody. Oh, now they're doing this. Now they're doing that. Another issue that I had with Rise of the Skywalker was that, again, I've kind of went over this, but everything is just convenient. There aren't really problems for the characters, and when there are, they're just like, we'll do this, and it's solved. And there's literally this one part in the movie where they have to look for some MacGuffin for something. I don't know. They have to look for something that does something. I don't really remember. I don't really care. I don't feel like the movie itself cared. They just had to go do something for the characters to do. Anyway, there's meant to be like this one thing that shows them something, and then there's a scene where Rey meets up with Kylo Ren, and he's like, come to the dark side, because I'm still a bad guy, but I'm not going to be in like 2 seconds, but whatever. And then he throws the thing away, and no, he crushes it. I don't know, he does both. He destroys it. It's gone. The one thing that they need is gone. A few seconds later, Rey is by herself again. She goes to some random ship, and then she's like, oh my god, there's 2 of them. Just my luck. There's another one. There's just another one of whatever the thing is that they needed. I don't remember the name of the thing that I need. I don't really remember what it did either. It showed them where something was or something. I don't care. It just, and me not knowing just goes to show how well written this movie was, doesn't it? Man, if you were disappointed with The Last Jedi, watch the fuck out for this movie. It's disappointing. Okay, I think that's about it. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. I'm sorry if you disagree with me. If you love this movie, good on you. I wish I did as well, but I just straight up didn't. I can see people liking it. If you do, you know, comment below. I'd be highly, highly interested. I didn't hate this movie, but, well, I definitely disliked it.